Got it.
All right, we're gonna do this. I always mess up this intro too, by the way. It's so long.
No, you're good, bro.
All right, three, two, one. Welcome to United States. Yep, did it again. Welcome to USFBL Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham, and I'm excited to be chatting with Bailey Burtner of Blistered Fingerboards. Bailey's also known as Blistered Fingers _ FBCO on Instagram. Bailey, thank you for coming on the podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, bro. And I'm doing good. How about you?
You and me, we got a little bit of history together, and which we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I mean, first, where are you located out of? Like, we hear the name all the time, Blister Fingerboards, but where is this located out of?
So I live in this like super unheard of town called Central Point, Oregon. It's so unheard of that I refer to a different town as where I'm from, and even the town that I refer to is still super small. But so technically, I go by Medford, Oregon, but I'm from Central Point.
All right, so Medford would be like the largest city closest to you.
Yes.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, well that's cool. Little West Coast vibe. I feel it.
Yeah, it's basically you walk outside and I live in a valley, so you just see mountains. It's pretty cool.
I have not had the opportunity to go to Oregon. I think there's probably like 10 states that I probably haven't had the opportunity of either visiting or driving through, and Oregon is one of those states. And I feel like, I gotta knock that off my bucket list for sure.
You gotta just hop on the I-5 one day. If I recommend you go to like Washington, start in Washington, top of the Pacific Northwest, and then just go all the way down to I-5, all the way through California, and you'll experience like the whole West Coast. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few states on the west, just never that far northwest, I guess you would say. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And we're hinting at possibly doing something next year on the tour up that way. So we'll see how that works out.
I feel like Portland would probably be your best bet if you come to like Oregon. That'd be
I've heard
best scenario.
Portland, Salem's kind of on our watch list right now. So in
Salem's good too.
Seattle.
Yeah, my teammate Andrew, he hosts some good events up in Salem.
I know one of the next events that he does, I plan on trying to make it out that way because I feel like me and him need to be collabing, putting Oregon on the map for sure.
For sure, bro. It's definitely grown in terms of like fingerboarding over here.
Yeah, I know the scene's getting big, and it's getting to the point where like people are starting to notice, and that's when like Oregon is definitely ready to put a stamp on the map for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For
I'm pretty
sure.
hyped on it. Yes, sir. We got an event coming up too. It's the day before yours. But hey, or no, it's the day after yours. Yours is the day before ours. Okay, my bad.
All right, well
But
tell us about it because I'm sponsoring this and I'm pretty stoked for you guys to.
it's June 11th. It is me and Gibby. So Gibby is from Central Point. We went to the same high school, but he's like 20 years older than me. So I mean, um, we went to the same high school, but I didn't know him or anything like that. So basically, what happened is this whole fingerboarding community like made us realize that we were from the same place, and he was coming into town for he has like a nephew that's graduating, and so I was just like, well, since you're going to be in town, we might as well do like a little bash for you or something, like throw a fingerboarding event, do a collab event or something. And so that's how the whole like the Badger versus Gibby turkey thing became a thing for like the Super Smash Bros type flyer.
That's marketing genius too, by the way.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm just like, I don't know why. Like this is pretty baller.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I thought of that, and I quickly came up with like the original flyer on my phone. I just threw it together in an app called Adobe Express, which is usually how I edit like a lot of the stuff that I I post and stuff. It's a really good app. You can just take advantage of a lot of stuff and it's free. But basically I posted this initial flyer and it was my badger right here that I drew up a long time ago. And then Gibby's turkey that is just like like the basic turkey that he has and like most of his logos and stuff. And I just threw it in like a Super Smash Bros template that I found on Google. And people liked the concept, so then he went and hired an artist and we got it like hand drawn in it. Yeah, now it's a badass flyer. If you have a way of popping it up on the screen, that'd be awesome.
I'm gonna find it. We're gonna pop it on the screen for
Okay,
sure.
cool.
We'll also do the turkey versus the badger image as well. So that's gonna be, I like it. It's pretty fire.
Yeah.
All right, so this is taking place. All right, once again, what date? And then the location.
Yes, June 11th at Walkabout Brewing Co. We had an event a couple months ago at that location. It was pretty dope. Basically, all ages are welcome, but because it's a brewery, you can still buy beer and you can have a good time. So yeah, and
Sounds
they
like
have a food truck, and the food truck last event they revamped their whole menu for the day, and they had like a day one song hot dog and a Tony Hawk dog, and yeah,
oh,
it
they
was
made a
pretty dope.
skateboarding thing. That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
That's I like it. All right, so tell us a little bit about your fingerboarding background. So what got you into fingerboarding?
Yeah, so basically when I was like I think 5, maybe 6 years old, I got my first tech deck from my Papa Larry, and basically he took me to like a Target or something, and we picked up a whole. But this was back when Tech Deck actually made wood ramps and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah, yeah.
way back before the Performance series and everything. So he bought me like a really high quality Tech Deck wood ramp, and it was like a half pipe. And so I just got super invested into like doing vert tricks, and then I got into like making fingerboard tutorial videos back in like YouTube and 2007, probably 2008. I was teaching people how to ollie and kickflip and stuff, and I will not, by God, I will not let those videos resurface again.
Were they pretty cringeworthy?
Yes. My voice was definitely we'll say squeaky. But yeah, so I just had a weird passion for it, I guess, and then I got into sports pretty heavy and kind of forgot about it. And then I graduated from high school and got into this job called it's called like Dabella or something like that. It's like door to door selling, like you fix roofs and you fix windows and stuff like that. But anyways, there's this guy that I worked with named Mark who was fingerboarding, and I totally had forgot about fingerboarding as a hobby. And it basically me just seeing him do it, I instantly went onto Amazon that day and bought like a POS uh little setup, you know what I'm saying? One of the beginner setups, and then that's what made me dive into the rabbit hole. I was like, oh, there's more to this, way more to this than when I was a kid. And I had heard of like so I'd watched Mike Schneider on YouTube back when I was making YouTube videos and like tutorials and stuff. And I think he was like 13 when I was like 7 or 8 making these YouTube videos. So he was like my idol at the time. And over the years, like me getting back into this hobby, he has become my idol again.
He's
So
been doing it for a very long time.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
easy to fall back and then realize that he's still just
he's
doing his
still
thing.
doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But basically with the wheels and like me getting into that, so I joined the one of like the Facebook groups, the Fingerboarding Unlimited group.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, and then I saw a bunch of people making their own decks, and it was like, hmm, I didn't realize you could do that. So I ordered a mold and I started making my own decks, and I tried selling my own decks, but nobody was buying them. And it was like really unmotivating. So I really wanted to make something for fingerboarding, but nobody was buying my decks, obviously, like I said. So I had like what's the word here? I expanded and I tried to think of other things that I could make. So I tried doing bushings for a little while, doing like the punched bushings, but I wasn't selling them or anything. I was just using them. And I didn't like the way that they came out just because I could never get the hole perfectly center. But that's just me. There are people that have more precision and can do it, but I just couldn't.
I
So
tried it as well. It's not easy.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like you need a special machine that'll perfectly cut those out every time.
for sure. Yeah. But so then I was like, maybe I could do the wheels. I did some research. I watched a YouTube video on like how real skateboard wheels were made, and essentially just replicated that, but in micro scale.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then I posted my work onto the Fingerboard Unlimited page, and it just like exploded.
So the Fingerboarding Unlimited group is pretty much, it's a Facebook group for those of you guys that don't know. Bailey's a member. I'm a member. I'm actually on the admin team. Fun fact. Um, it is definitely a group where if you are trying to test the waters, you're trying to gain intel or information on pretty much anything fingerboarding, like this group is definitely for you. It's just
Yeah,
a way to just literally just grow your fingerboarding knowledge as a whole.
absolutely. Like everybody in that group. I mean, there's a select few guys, but
There's always a couple
everybody
bad
in that
apples.
group, for the most part, is pretty knowledgeable. Like you could ask them pretty much anything, and they'll tell you. Like I don't know, just like if a certain brand is worth buying or whatever. But I won't get into like what brand's worth buying or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like
No, I hear you. There's a great
yeah,
way to get everybody's opinions, whether they're worthy or not. You'll get the
yeah,
good stuff, the bad stuff, the middle stuff, but it's
yeah,
definitely a fun
exactly.
group to be a part of for sure.
Yeah, dude. And the good thing about Fingerboarding Unlimited too is like everybody there is so supportive. I feel like for the most part, every time I post anything, it doesn't even have to be my wheels. Even before I even got into all this stuff, people were like commenting on my stuff. Like I'd post like a video of me fingerboarding or whatever, and there'd be somebody like, dude, that's a bad, nice freaking clip. I'm trying not to cuss. I'm sorry, but that was a nice clip, bro. And I'm like, yeah, this actually makes me feel like accepted, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of people that post clips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People that literally just start now can barely ollie and they're just looking for validation. And there's people
Yes.
that just throw down bangers and there's just a little bit of everything for sure.
Yes. Exactly. It's a perfect group for basically anybody that's a fingerboarder.
Yeah, no, I agree. Cody
Yeah.
Mexico actually runs that group. He started it pretty much the same time I kind of started all my other fingerboard groups on Facebook, but that group in particular is probably the most active and most like heartwarming like group. Like everybody that's like involved in that group, we pretty much make it a goal to make sure that like it is just a place where you can just be comfortable. It's not just it's not your standard group for sure.
Absolutely. And dude, you said Cody Mexico, and I just wanted to say big shout out to Cody because he's the reason that my stuff is on flat face.
Cody's definitely he's the man. I had the opportunity to meet him in Chicago at my very first stop in 2021, and he helped me do the unload and unload, like loading in and loading out. And anybody who went to like the first two, the original venue for 2021 and 2022, that load in is literally like the worst load in out of like all of the stops. Like it is brutal. And Cody's just like happy go lucky, like, yeah, what do you need? And he's just like manpowering like all this stuff down like literally what feels like a half a mile like trek to the banquet room.
I'm not surprised. He seems like a very genuinely good guy.
Yeah, he's good people. Him and his whole family. He's got I think he's got like a new baby and all that. So he's got a pretty large crew now.
Yeah, dude, for sure. but like elaborating a little more on what I said, big shout out to Cody is he plugged me with all the right people to get into the flat face web store. And basically, eventually, I got in contact with Mike and his mom. Because for those that don't know, Mike's mom is like not necessarily the one that runs the store or anything like that, but like she's like doing the background stuff, like taking care of like putting stuff in stock and stuff like that. So like, or like she'll reach out to brands and try to figure
Yeah.
out like stocking and stuff like that. So basically, what happened is I got plugged up with Mike and his mom, and then eventually I sent him a bunch of product. So like I sent him a bunch of photos actually, and I said choose what you want, and he said or he asked for one set, but I was like super persistent, and I sent him like every shape that I have. So basically, I wanted it to be like in his face, like, yo, these are blistered wheels, like you should try them. And I feel like that was how it worked out for me. Is like he saw all the different types of shapes that I have, all the different types of colors that I could do, and it just worked out because essentially I had been like not stalking, but like I'd be like watching Mike's stories, and he'd be like talking about like rocks and stuff like that. So I'd be like trying to create like wheels that had like a rock type, like a mineral type look to them, and then I'd send them to him, stuff like that. And then he'd be like, "Oh, that is super dope." But yeah, so it just worked out in the long term. Is like Cody plugged me up with Mike and his mom, and then essentially over time, Mike emailed me, and we clicked, and it worked. I got my stuff on his store, and it still baffles me to this day. And another big shout out I want to make is to my teammate Carmel
Okay.
Fingerboards, because I feel like he was like one of the first big brands to like notice me and like put me on. He was like the first big brand to reach out and be like, "Yo, I need your product in my store." And I was like, "Okay, dude, let's do a trade. I need some trucks in my store." You know what I'm saying? But it worked.
Yeah, he's
So
good people. He's been sponsoring the tour for 3 straight years since day one. I mean, he is. I mean, he's just a generally good dude. Like, and his
for sure,
products are fantastic. Like
for
his
sure,
boots,
dude.
they're a little on the big side for me, but they are hella grippy. Like they're good. They're good.
Hmm. And do you ever like hop in his stories and just like watch him like making wheels or making trucks and stuff like that?
I never get those stories. I get the ones where he's got like the huge 50 millimeter eggs with the trucks, and he's literally killing it though, like tray flip, like nollie crooks, and
Oh yeah,
just crazy stuff. Those are the clips I
you
usually get on his
fingerboarding
stories.
with a pancake, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He just looked like he's just living his best life for sure.
For
So
sure. Yeah, dude, I really like that guy. He's a cool guy. I mean, every time we hop in like a team call or whatever, I can hardly understand him. But he's a really cool guy. He speaks majority Spanish. So
mhm.
it's like I had a Spanish class when I was in high school. Like majority of the people that had Spanish in high school don't remember Spanish. Yeah, I don't know. I can translate a little bit. I know what he's saying sometimes, and then he'll talk in English a little bit, and same goes for like my teammate Clumsy, because I have a teammate that he lives in Belgium,
Mm.
so he speaks pretty little English as well.
You got people all over the world.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Clumsy was actually my first teammate.
Huh.
Yeah, man. He's really young too. He's when I picked him up, he's like 15. He's like 17 now. But that kid shreds for sure. He goes to a lot of events over, and he goes to like the like main big Black River events in Germany and stuff like that. because he lives over there. So that's part of the reason why I was like, yeah, I want you on my team.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Was it just me, or did I see you actually in like the ASI shop as well, like your products?
So I reached out to ASI forever ago, and I dropped the ball on that completely because I reached out to him saying, "Yo, I want to send some product to you," and then I got like super busy with because I got blown up with orders and stuff and was just not expecting the build of the brand that has happened so far, and I basically blew him off in a way.
Oh no. But I could have
Yeah,
sworn though that I saw something showing that you were in their shop online.
I mean, maybe he had bought from somebody else, but I don't know. I haven't like actually sold him any wheels or sent him any wheels for that matter. I like I said, I dropped the ball on that.
Oh, no worries. Maybe I was say I see a lot of stuff on my feed and stuff like that. I could have sworn I saw that. So no worries. I mean,
Oh no, you're good, man.
you still made it on the flat face, which is pretty impressive. I mean, you've only been in business for what, a year and a half, and so
Almost two.
almost two.
Uh, yeah. Well, I've been making wheels for almost yeah, just a little bit over a year, but like I've been like making decks and all that stuff for like 2 years now. So the brand itself has been a brand for 2 years.
I mean, we're pretty much kind of sitting in the same boat. Like we are, I'm only been in business for 3 years. And so people kind of see the brand and see like I've been doing it for like a long time. We're kind of like, new kids on the block. And
For
so
sure.
like, there's the OGs that have been doing it for 5+ years. And then you got a lot of new kids on the block like you and myself. And so, we're making waves. We're, producing products, we're hosting events, like we're literally just growing the community as a whole. So we need to start a new kids on the block kind of like, like kind of a crew kind of a thing. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No, for sure. I get you. Like we're all the new school, and like for example, like Dynamic and like Mike Schneider, Flatface, and brands like that, like Winkler Wheels or people like Black River.
yeah, those are
They're
all
all people that are
15
just
plus year
like
guys. Yeah.
concreted. They're concrete cemented into the brand, or not into the brand. Sorry, into the
The
fingerboard
industry. Yeah.
world. Yeah, the industry. We're all the new people. But you know what? I'm here for the long term. So it's gonna be one of these days I'll be one of them old heads.
It's all consistency. That's
Yeah,
all. I mean, everything I do, I look at it as a 5 to 7 year plan. And I usually after about 5 or 6 years, I look and see like whether things are working or not, and you kind of
yeah.
reevaluate and stuff from there. But for me, anytime I try to do something, it's a easy 5 year plan for sure.
I elaborated a little bit on like me starting the brand 2 years ago. Uh, Basically, how that worked out was I was living in a apartment with my fiance, and I had just had surgery on my appendix during the pandemic. So I was out of work for like 2 weeks, and I had my friend Brett come over, and he was like the only fingerboarder that I knew at the time, besides my friend Mark, who I brought up earlier at my work. But my friend Brett came over, and we like had this scheme to come up with a fingerboard brand. Not scheme, I should say. We had this like idea to come up with a fingerboard brand, and we wanted it to be. We were like trying to make the logo similar to like how FaZe Clan has the F and the C. Because I'm a big gamer.
Mm.
Like I came back from like I used to like trick shot and do a bunch of stuff like that. So like I was trying to essentially emulate that logo, but with like the words BF and then FB. Like I wanted the B and the F to be backwards and the FB to be forwards so that it came together and it was like real nice.
How'd you come up with the name Blistered?
So Blistered was the idea that Brett came up with. He was like, well, so I was like BFFB. I want that to be the initials, but I need to cut like the acronym, And I need the filler. What are the letters? What are they going to stand for? I got the fingerboarding at the end. Like that's easy, but what's the B and the F? Why don't we do like blistered fingers or something like that? No, it's like dude, that's badass. Let's do that. Yeah. Blistered fingers, fingerboarding. I like it. And basically designed the logo right then. I hopped on Paint because I didn't have Photoshop or anything like that. I went on Microsoft Paint and just drew it. I just wanted to see what it would look like, you know?
And the rest was history.
Yeah. And then basically just it unfolded the way it did. I downloaded a bunch of programs and started drawing logos and came up with like a really, really bad old, like the concept that I had initially planned. I thought it would look good, but it came out really bad. So I scrapped that whole idea with the backwards logo thing, stealing from FaZe Clan or whatever. The dude that did this logo, and he did, I don't know if you can see it on here. No, it's cropped out. I'm not gonna move my phone.
It's all good.
But I have another logo. He's done a couple of my logos. They're like graffiti-esque style because I like that style. I like the so the badge are supposed to represent like not caring, like not literally, excuse my language, not giving a shit. Because if you remember the meme from like way back when, the honey badger don't give a shit.
Oh, I remember the
But
honey badger.
yeah. So the honey badger don't give a shit. Yeah, I had this. I just wanted it my like brand to symbolize the I don't give a shit attitude. So, so that's why I have like graffiti style logos and like the badger and stuff like that, because basically I want, I don't know, that's how I represent myself. I really I do give a shit, but I don't. So if that makes sense.
No, I feel that for sure.
Yeah.
I know you've got a lot of current stuff going on, and I know you got some future projects as well. I know you've got Blister Trucks, which we've been hinting in the Facebook group Fingerboarding Unlimited for about a month or so at least.
Oh, it's been like at least half a year that I've been putting them prototypes and stuff on that page. So basically those will be coming out hopefully by the end of June. That is like my very good hope. I don't really know exactly when they're gonna be coming out because I still have a lot of work to do.
I mean, I wouldn't put like a hard date on it then, but it's definitely coming out sometime in the near future.
No, if I had to estimate it, I would say it's like end of June, maybe early July, but I'm like really hoping for end of June.
That
But yeah,
sounds like a game plan. So tell us about these trucks.
so my trucks, essentially, I wanted to take all the good things from Black River trucks, dynamic trucks, caramel trucks, SB trucks, all the fingerboard brands, and I wanted to make them have a baby. And like I basically just took all the best things from all of them, whether it be like the height. This is all preference based, by the way. This is all the stuff that I like. But
So these aren't
whether
even
it be
like
the
Blister
height,
trucks. These are just like Bailey trucks.
yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. But so they have like for example, the dynamic wheelbase, but the Black River height. So they sit pretty low, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, see, the wheelbase on dynamic is just a little bit wider than Black River. So it's basically the same wheelbase as dynamic, but it has the Black River height. So like I said, it takes the two things that people like from both of the trucks, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
And then I took like not necessarily the design from Carmel, but like his base plate is what I essentially started my base plate with. I was taking like dimensions from his, trying to basically emulate that exact base plate. And then I approached Carmel with the idea, and he said that it was okay for me to do that, but I didn't want to like straight rip him off, so I scrapped it. This is like way back when. I scrapped it, and then I changed it a little bit. So I rounded some of the edges, and then it looks completely different now, but it's based on the caramel base plate, if that makes sense. Like it started with caramel base plate. Yeah. Because I mean I like the caramel base plates. Like if you actually have them, they sit really nice. They're really good. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention Vortex in here. Sorry. I feel like Vortex doesn't get enough appreciation. So I kind of also took the idea of being able to screw in from either the bottom or the top with the kingpin so that you can invert or sorry, if you can ride inverted or you can ride standard as you please.
Dual purpose. I like it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of like really good aspects to these. And another good thing about them is my logos are on the hangers themselves. They're on the base plates. They're blasted literally all over it. So if China was to try to replicate this at any moment, even if they did replicate it, it wouldn't have my logos on it. So it would be very easy to tell which is actually like a fake and what isn't, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. No, I understand the whole China reproduction, and I mean that's a whole nother podcast within itself.
Oh
But
yeah, for sure, bro. Yeah. Because literally anytime any truck brand comes out, it's like literally they'll be out for a month, 2 months, and then China's on it. Like so
as soon as
I
like,
thought about it.
well, I
I
feel
thought
like as
about
soon
it.
as they like start like doing well, like they're like, oh, they're pushing out a lot of units. That's when like whoever's doing the stuff over there, like they get involved. And so like,
Pretty
as soon as they're
much.
like, oh, Black River's doing like hundreds of units or thousands of units or a million units, I don't know the number, but like, the knockoffs to be like,
We could do that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And so that's part of the reason why I have the blistered logo on the hanger, like I said, and then on the base plates. And then I have the Badger logo on the base plates too. So that would be cool. It's similar to like how Black River and how Carmel did their like V2 base plates or whatever with the
Like, those base
logos on
plates
them.
are fire.
Yeah.
Fire for sure.
Yes, sir.
So tell me about these V4s. What are these?
So the V4 streets, I should have just brought a set in here. I don't know why I didn't think to, but basically, so let's start back at V1.
Oh,
So
so this is like
V1,
a whole, okay, it's a series thing. Okay.
yeah. So V1, I started these with a like 70D urethane, and the V1 streets had no letters. Like there were no embossed. They didn't say blistered on the wheels. They were boring, in my opinion. But basically what happened was the lock mech on those just didn't work as well as I wanted it to. And I realized that it wasn't actually the V1 shape itself, it was the urethane that I was using. So realistically, I could probably revisit the V1 shape with the 60D urethane that I use and it would work now. I'm not gonna do that because I already have too many shapes. So
That's a lot of
V2,
trial and error for sure.
yeah, V2 is just when I like implemented a better bearing lock and then I switched to 60D urethane. Then I also like tried to center the bearing more into the wheel because it in my V1 shape it was all the way back. Like there was like no support for the bearing in the very back. And so the V2s I like I said I put it more in the center so that there was more support from the urethane in the backside so that if you were to do a certain trick, it wouldn't just blow out or whatever. Problems did start arising with the V2 streets where they would have the bearings blow out, and it was just pissing me off. I didn't want to continue to send out replacement wheels over and over and over because it was like bound to happen to every V2 street shape that existed. Like it was getting to that point. Everybody was hitting me up, and I was getting frustrated with it. So instead of just settling with what I had, I never do that. I always try to improve. So V3 Streets came out and they had like this super enforced bearing block system, which to this day I think I've only had one one set, and I've sold, I can't even put it to a number, probably hundreds of V3 streets at this point. And one set, I think, is how many that I've had to replace because of bearing block problems. So I have figured that out.
That's a
But
good percentage there.
yeah, and then the V4 streets. So basically, what the change is, oh yeah, I said that the letters on the V3 streets got a little bit bigger. I changed the font a little bit, and then the V4 streets, I changed the font again. So these are the newest ones.
You just launched those then.
Yes.
Yeah, I've
Not
seen those
not
in the
launched
group.
yet as of recording, but I think after we post it, they will be launched, I'm pretty sure. But I changed the font again to where it's like an italicized, so where it's like, like slanted font a little bit, because I like it more when it looked that way in comparison to just a rounded text. The font is italicized and it's not embossed anymore. It's debossed so that I can color in the letters, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Now I can release the same white set of wheels in multiple different colors based on what anybody wants, pretty much.
Okay.
To elaborate on that, I do not do customs like I used to anymore. So I mean, I do sometimes, but it's like a very rare occasion that I bring the customs back on the site. So when I say that you can get whatever color you want, I mean, like, I have a lot more ability to make a lot more colors way faster than what I was doing, if that makes sense.
No, it
Like
makes perfect sense.
stuff to match stuff super quick. Just because I have all these blank white wheels and all I have to do is color the letters and I can match it to whatever somebody wants. You know what I'm saying? So it's super easy.
Yeah, you got the process down for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know you got some hobbies. I know you mentioned you were a gamer.
Yeah, so I play a lot of video games. Right now, I am super into like emulating old Nintendo games. I'm playing like Mario Galaxy on my computer with like 4K textures and modded graphics and stuff like that. So it takes me back to when I was a kid, but it's like modern day 1440p.
Cheat codes.
Yeah,
Cheat
so
codes.
it's like amazing. I don't know. That's like my big thing right now. I went and watched the Mario movie, so I've been on a Mario kick. And
I haven't seen it yet. Everybody's saying it's really good.
I won't say that it's really good because I'm like a big Mario head back when
All
I
the
was a kid.
90s babies are saying it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a 90s baby, but I'm a 99, so I like barely break the threshold. Yeah. But as far as Mario goes, though, I feel like there's a lot of things in that movie that I know it's like the first movie that I was like bummed that they left a lot unanswered, not unanswered like in a bad way or anything like that, but like there was a lot of stuff in the movie that, for example, like I don't want to spoil it for you because you haven't seen it, or I don't
Yeah,
want to spoil
no, I don't.
it.
Yeah, they're for anybody else either. So
Yeah. I mean,
we're gonna leave it at
I won't
that.
get
We're
into
gonna
it,
leave it
but
at
like
that.
me being a big Mario head, I was just disappointed in like certain aspects. Let's just put it in that way. But one thing that's not going to spoil it at all, but it's super badass, and it made me want to change my phone ringtone. Luigi's ringtone for his phone, for his
In the
like
movie?
plumber phone, is it's the Nintendo GameCube theme song.
No way.
Yeah, so when it rings, it blew my mind in the theater. I was like, "Oh my god, that is sick!"
That's nostalgic right there.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you've been talking about some Pokemon card collecting as well.
Yes, sir. So a few weeks ago, me and my fiance were watching this show on Netflix called Golden Golden Exchange or something like that. I don't remember. Golden Auctions. It's this dude that like is super known in the auction industry for like trading cards and just collectible stuff like that. And he has a series on Netflix where he links up with a bunch of super known people and like people like Peyton Manning and Logan Paul, for example, because Logan's into Pokemon.
He's got the most expensive card, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So
He like diamonded it
basically,
out and made a charm. It's crazy.
I had never gotten into Pokemon when I was a kid because my parents didn't allow me to. Like I wasn't allowed to get into Power Rangers. I wasn't allowed to watch all kinds of stuff. But it wasn't because of like the fact that they're like a trading card game, or like my parents didn't want to buy me anything or anything like that, because I got Hot Wheels and tech decks and shit like that all the time. But is more or less along the lines like they didn't want me to get into like violence and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, I was like super sheltered. I wasn't allowed to watch like Yu-Gi-Oh. I wasn't allowed to watch
Yu-Gi-Oh was my jam.
yeah, anything like that. So I didn't get into Pokemon until super late. Super late. I was like 14, 15, and my uncle, who is my age, because he's adopted. It's a weird scenario, but he came down and with like he was with my grandma, and basically he was playing Pokemon on his Nintendo DS, and I just was super interested in it. I had a Nintendo DS, so I made my grandma go get me a Pokemon game because I had never played it, and I knew that my parents wouldn't buy it for me. So I was like, "Grandma, can we please go get Pokemon?" And she said yes, and then that's basically what got me into Pokemon. Like I said, super late. I was like 14, but then like I said, I'd never gotten to like trading cards or anything like that. So it was 3 weeks ago that I watched that show, saw everyone opening packs and stuff like that in the show, and it just seemed like fun. So I went to the store and instantly got hooked into this stupid hobby
It
that I
is
won't call stupid because I really enjoy it, but I'm saying stupid because I spend too much money on it.
that's how they get you. Like
Yeah.
it's the same. Like for me, like I was a huge Yu-Gi-Oh nerd. Like I watched the show. It was hot, like when it first came out for at least 6 or 7 years after. And so like I watched the show all the time. I was collecting all the cards, and like I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! I think when I was like 18 or 19. So I had like grown man money. So like that's the worst. So like if
Yeah,
you
that's
want
what I'm
something,
saying,
you're
bro.
just like, you know what? Like I can actually go out and drop $300-400 on all these sets of cards. And so
That's what I'm saying. It's bad. It gets bad too. Like,
yeah. And there's nothing more satisfying than like literally opening packs and seeing what's in there and hoping that like, you get all these cool cards and stuff. And
dude, what
it's
made it worse? What made it worse is so I go to Walmart, and so for example, these packs aren't even supposed to be in the stores anymore. They're like 3 years old or 2 years old now. Celebrations is what they're called. And they're the 25th anniversary edition of like the base set cards and stuff like that from Pokemon. So the Walmart that I went to, they had them. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy a bunch of these boxes. First box I opened, bro. This is literally the first Pokemon packs that I've ever opened in my whole life, right? So I open it, and my friend Michael's like, bro, you're gonna have that beginner's luck where you open your first box and you're gonna get the best thing that you'll ever pull, and that's
always,
that.
always.
And I was like, okay. I open it, and it's the base set Charizard's the best card in the celebration set.
And you
And
just
I was
pulled
like,
one just like
dude,
that.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I was just in disbelief. And then I get the Blastoise, and then I get the Venusaur, and I'm like, I have the base set 3. Like, I have the whole collection in the one box. And since then, I've had like barely any good pulls, and I've spent way too much money on it. If you get into the hobby, open one box and call it good.
Fair enough. It's like a lotto ticket. It's always the guy that's like, yeah, I don't usually play the lottery, but I just decided to pick up a ticket randomly because something happened in my life and now it's changed my life. And so like
Yeah,
it's always beginner's luck.
for sure, for sure. And like now, we'll be in the checkout lane at a store. Me and my fiance for the last 3 weeks. Every day we go to the store. Pokemon, put it. It's so bad, bro. I see Pokemon, I grab it. Dude, it's a bad rabbit hole. It's worse than fingerboarding, in my opinion.
Fingerboarding is just as bad, especially when you're waiting for all these limited drops, those Bailey drops. Like you're just everybody's.
I mean, I get it. I get it in a way, but at the same time, I haven't like participated, or actually, let me take that back. I've participated in fingerboard drops over the last year, but I haven't actually purchased anything in the last year because I can't. Every time I try, it's sold out before I get to it, man.
That's always my problem. I forget about them, to be honest with you, and then I'll remember them, and it'll be like 2 hours later, and everything's gone.
Dude, I'll set an alarm. I'll set an alarm five times before the drop, and I'll be on it, literally checking out within 2 seconds of the drop or whatever, and it's gone. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah,
I'm
some of
not
those
gonna
drops
say
are
any names.
pretty crazy for sure.
But yeah, I mean, that's what unmotivated me to buy new fingerboard products. But I'll always trade for them and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's what I like about events and stuff like that is you get to trade. There's a lot of online trading and stuff like that in the Facebook groups, but trading's nice. It's a way to like try not to spend additional money because we already spend so much money, but finding someone that likes what you want and then vice versa, and just getting that trade, that's super satisfying.
dude, and speaking of trades, I mean, I don't mean to like elaborate on this too deep, but in the Fingerboard Unlimited group, I've noticed that a lot of people trade, and that there are some people that make these posts where they get scammed or whatever when the person obviously doesn't send them what they were supposed to trade or whatever. And it happens very rarely, but it happens. And so one thing that I noticed about when I like got into the Pokemon scene, I joined the Pokemon groups. And in order to do trades, you have to have a middleman,
Hmm.
and that is actually genius.
I've been looking into something kind of sort of like that. I actually never even thought of it like that, as having like some kind of an escrow, I guess is theoretically what you'd call it, whether it's an actual person or an account or however that works. But
Yeah,
theoretically, I
just
mean,
it's the person that takes both the product and makes sure that both
yeah,
people get what they need. Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, and even in that case, maybe both people get screwed over by the person that is taking the or like the middleman, you know. but but I feel like it would happen, like people getting scammed and stuff like that would happen a lot less likely,
And it
or
really doesn't
a
happen
lot
really
less.
that much. I mean, for every post that you see, like, the problem is it's like any kind of reviews. A restaurant can literally do, they can serve 10,000 people a day. And then, like, the only time you hear about a transaction going good or bad is usually a bad one that someone's like, angry enough to actually put forth the energy of letting people know that they had a bad transaction. And so, like, you can literally do 10,000 transactions, but out of all 10,000 transactions, you only hear about the one. You don't hear
Yeah,
about
I mean,
the nine.
and
Yeah.
specifically with like you can get like a bunch of good positive remarks from people and shit like that, but like you said, the bad,
It's like the bad
uh,
just cancels everything out for
yeah,
no
pretty
reason
much.
whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah,
So is there
but
anybody you want to recognize? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
so specifically, I have shouted out Cody Mexico already. I've shouted out Carmel. Let's shout out my whole team. I have so many people on my team. I hope I don't butcher this. I got hold on. We got Manny, we got Casper, we got Carmel, we got Green, and we got Mac, and we got Andrew. Yeah, that's six. Cool. All right. So then we have Keelan, Wysocki Wheels, big supporter from the very beginning. Like when I say supporter, he's helped in a lot of ways. And he's like one of them people that has been in this scene for ever now. So it's like getting the helpful tips that he has given me has helped me turn my brand into what it is. And when I say helpful tips, like he's helped me with like how to handle customers and stuff like that. And I just I respect that guy a lot for
He's a good dude.
helping
He's
me.
also a tour
Yeah.
sponsor for us as well. He's very insightful. He's been doing this for a long time.
He just had a kid too.
Yeah, yeah. New baby, clan expanding.
Yeah. Congrats to Keelan on that new kid. I'm gonna shout out Cubeco FB for a while there. He was trying to get my wheels on his website, and I was prioritizing other things, and I felt well, I feel like this guy deserves a lot of recognition because he's putting on a huge like he has a shop. I think it's in like
It's in
California,
Denver.
but Or is it in Denver?
Yeah, it's called This. I've actually done quite
See,
a
I,
few
I
things
mixed
with
up
them.
CO and CA right there. I said California.
I do it all the time.
Yeah,
It's weird. But yeah,
but
he's doing
so
big things out in that area for sure.
I just want to say big shout out to him because like he reached out and he has a bunch of brands that he stocks in his site, but like I just love it when people reach out to me and they're like, bro, I want your wheels on my site. I was like, I appreciate you, man. That's straight up. Like, there's no other way to put it. It's like, if you can recognize that I make what I make and I have like I put a lot of heart into it, then I appreciate you more than you know. So I think that's it, man. I don't really have any more shout out. Well, big shout out to USAFBL for putting me on the podcast. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Right on. No, I appreciate you. All right, Bailey. So where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at blistered fingers underscore FB And then you can find me on TikTok at the same @ And then you can find me on my website. I know it's backwards for you guys, but it says blisteredfb.com. Oh,
Yeah,
Reddit too.
you got a Reddit? Okay.
BFFB underscore co. I don't really use Reddit as much, but I'm in the fingerboard Reddit. So if you ever see me, BFFB underscore co. That is me, official.
All right. Well, we're going to get all those links in the description. Bailey, thanks for coming out on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me, brother. I appreciate it. For
No
real.
worries.
I've been wanting to do a podcast for a fat minute, so this is dope.
Well, I'm glad we could be those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Till next time.
Next time, bro.